I'm Nobody, Who Are You by Emily Dickinson. I'm nobody, who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell, they'd advertise, you know. How dreary to be somebody, how public like a frog, to tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog. She uses a simile in saying how public like a frog. Dickinson uses the simile of comparing being somebody to being like a frog, who is constantly ribbiting to call attention. She uses the example of a frog to show her negative view of others' need to be acknowledged, in contrast to her ability to be appeased on her own. Capitalization is used to show Emily's feeling toward being a nobody. Using a capital N in nobody shows that she sees it as a title or name for herself. Nobody is her identity, not her lack of one.
Emily talks about how she is content with having a private identity and doesn't need the attention of others nor want it. She doesn't feel the need to call attention to herself. The deeper meaning is that your experience is valuable on its own. It doesn't need to be flaunted, improved, or approved by anyone. It is okay to be content with your identity and not to have it recognized by others. This poem relates to the theme topic of isolation and being the other, but in the sense that this poem is written, it's a positive thing. Emily makes the point that she still likes being a nobody because she still feels fulfilled by her life without showing it off to anyone. She calls revealing her identity public like a frog because it is a negative thing to have the attention of others and to be a somebody in order to be content.
Emily Dickinson spent 30 years of her life almost entirely alone. She was very private and shy, but this poem shows that this is the life she chose for herself, not an unhappy last resort. She liked being a nobody and found public life unnecessary for her. She was happy to be alone with her experience.
This poem is timeless in the sense that it teaches a significant lesson to anyone who reads it in any time. Your life is ample on its own. It doesn't need the recognition or admiration of any other person to be valuable. This is an especially important thing to understand in this day and age. With the mass use of social media, people have been indoctrinated to think that something must be liked or noticed by someone else in order to be valuable or worthwhile. Emily's life and this poem teach us that anyone can and should be content with himself. With credit to Casey.